All right, in this clip of the stealthy front yard garden, I'm going to talk about apple cactus. There are several varieties of cactus that produce edible fruit. I have eaten none of them. One of them that most people are aware of is prickly pear from the paddle cactus that's covered in glochids. It's a very unfriendly cactus. There is a variety I like that's a large paddle and it's thornless and has virtually no glochids on it. Okay, the car has passed. Oh, but I think I hear another one coming. No. Anyway, the problem with prickly pear cactus and prickly pear fruit is that the fruit is covered in glochids. So it's not easy to harvest and eat it. You have to handle it with tongs, and then you have to either boil it or torch it to burn off the glochids before you can handle it. So there's another cactus. It's commonly known as Peruvian apple. However, from everything I've read, the cactus is not from Peru, so it is a misnomer. And this particular cactus is Cereus Repandus. That would be the botanical name for what most people call Peruvian apple. And this variety, you see, is a spiral mutation. So its botanical name is Cereus Repandus spiralis. It's gorgeous. I love it. I just love this form. Now, we've had a house before that had Cereus Repandus. We didn't know that's what it was at the time. It was terribly overgrown, and you could not get to it. This is very thorny, a harsh cactus. It was along a walkway where we were just bumping into it. Very unfriendly. Had these big gorgeous flowers, but this was a multi-branched clump form, kind of like that society garlic that I have over there. But imagine it as a cactus. That's what it looked like. And the flowers would fall down in the middle of that clump and just rot. It smelled like rotten meat. But here I'm planting it in such a way, I'm starting with it young, and I will simply keep it pruned. I will not let it get overgrown like that. My understanding is that the fruit is absolutely delicious as long as it has to be pollinated, of course, and it blooms at night, so it requires bats and moths for pollination. The cuttings that we planted here did bloom in late spring, early summer, and the blooms were open still in the morning until about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and so bees were able to visit them. So hand pollination is another option if you want fruit from this. Anyway, this is gorgeous. We have an island over here, a rock island that I will walk over there to show you and explain how we've planted them there. So the fruit has no glochids. So I'm excited about that because you can simply pick it off with a bare hand and take a bite in right then and there. Don't have to do anything, don't have to worry about handling. Now these cuttings I took from somebody whose cactus had fallen into their swimming pool, and you can see that these were thick, mature, woody arms. They are not growing. I took 5 arms. This one here to the left actually grew off of that one to my right. It had 4 buds come up. This one took off growing, and these 3 that are here now were suppressed until I cut that one off and potted it, and now those 3 are growing. This one has 3. little beauties growing off of it. Which will at some point be cut off and rooted. All right, on to the yard where we planted them as our landscape feature. So we have this rocky outcrop here. And you see we have these cots under the cuttings. So the intention was that we would plant them at an angle, and as the tips grew, they would grow upwards, kind of the way some places grow palm trees. They take a palm tree that's several years old and has some height to it, plant it in the ground at a near horizontal angle, and support it. You have to give it support. Then as it grows, the new growth bends up towards the sky. Well, these cuttings are not growing at the tips, they are producing pups. So what we're going to do is, you can see these two, well, they're not really pups because they're growing off. They're growing off as buds from the older cutting. They're getting pretty tall. They're actually growing very quickly, and in this case of these two, they're almost as tall as the original cutting that we put in. So we're thinking that we're going to let some of these cuttings grow a little bit taller, cut them off, root them, and then use these younger cuttings to replace the mature cuttings that we originally put in. And hopefully they will grow with that bend that we were looking for as our feature for this rock garden. But what I've done is, there's plenty of space. I want to grow these as architectural landscape features, and so they're not going to get bushy, and I've left space between that I can get in there and cut off branches. They have to be pruned just like a tree. You cut off branches that cross, intersect, and just to keep it the size that you want it. So that's what we're doing here. There's another one. Oh, I'll take you over here to this little cutting. This guy right here. This also produces the same fruit as Cereus Repandus. This is Hildeman's Cereus, and it's a monstrous form. It is not thornless, but as you can see, they are small. So, and few, very few of them. For instance, there are 0 thorns down here on the original cutting that I took. And it has this gorgeous blue color, which is a waxy coating. The waxy coating washes off over time, so you will see the older growth on this cactus is green because it has lost the wax, but the new growth has that gorgeous blue waxy coating on it. I just love it, and I love this monstrous form. So this also produces the same fruit as the Cereus Repandus, and being that it doesn't have as many thorns, it's a little bit friendlier. So if you have an area that people walk by, or you have children and dogs walking by, and you want to have a cactus but you want one, I'll wait for the jet to finish flying over. That's probably from Luke Air Force Base. So Anyway, with this one, since it has few thorns, and what thorns it does have are small, it also has no glochids. So if you're looking for a cactus to plant in your yard, but you have a small yard, or it's near a walkway, you have children and pets that walk by, and you don't want them to get stabbed by a biter like this one bites. And it seems to kind of have a poison tip too, because it stings. So anyway, here's a little piece that broke off. My dog actually bumped into that cutting and broke off an arm, so I just stuck it in some soil there. Did I finish telling you that you can put this where your children walk? Yeah, I think I did. Okay, so we have another one that's on the other side of the yard. It's planted in the ground, and actually I'm going to show it to you because it got sunburned here. That's how bad our summer was. I took these cuttings off of a mother plant that the house had faced westward. So the mother plant had full western sun exposure. And you see the color change here. There's green at the bottom and blue towards the top. That's the new growth since I planted it. This green is the original arm that I cut off. Now you see all of those yellow spots? That's all sunburn. Sunburn from this summer that was so brutal. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to getting some fruit off of Hildy.